Hello. Is that working now? Okay. Seems like maybe. Hello. Is that working now? Okay. Seems like maybe. Well, what the
most of the time was not super complex, and AI felt like putting my Tesla on FSD. I could just
Okay.
guide the machine to do the work for me. Yeah, in my free time, I started working on side projects on my personal account on my work device. On this account, I did not have access to Copilot and other cool, fancy AI tools. This is when using AI started to feel very similar to the Tesla FSD story. Yeah, now that I got done using Cursor for a week, honestly, going back to NeoVim, sometimes I'm in here, and when I start going here, and I go like this. All right, or I go param, and I'm like, gosh, just auto completed already for me. Yeah, I have a snippet, but then I have to go like number, and then I have to go number, and then I have to like go number. Right? Oh my gosh, I already know what you know what I want. I know what I want. Just make it happen. Right? And if I use Copilot, I could get that back on. But Copilot's also super annoying everywhere else because Copilot's like, actually, and it's always wrong like 95% of the time. It feels like, and just makes me feel like I'm gonna go bonkers. Oh my gosh, I just hate using it. It's like pair programming with the most annoying person in the universe. You just get to see their thoughts just all the time. All right, anyways, I felt less competent at doing what I was quite basically software development than a year or so before. All of a sudden, it made very clear to me how reliant I had become on AI tools. I don't think this is a bad thing, right? Like, I'm not sure if it's a bad thing. I have to think about this more, but I'm not quite positive if just programming is the end all be all. I think that you lose a lot of really keen sense of what's going on when you don't type it yourself. And I think that you lose a lot of mastery and you lose a lot of just like familiarity with the API and you lose like, but I could also argue that LSP in some sense makes the exact same thing happen. That the LSP itself also makes you lose some of that quality that when it comes to being a really good programmer. I think they're on a near same level. Not quite. They're like they're a different in magnitude, not a difference in kind. Anytime I defined a function, I paused in my editor to wait until the AI tools would write the implementation for me. It took some effort to remember what the syntax was to write a unit test by hand. Yes, the old Copilot pause. So this is a real effect. For those that are using AI regularly, just try writing without it for a second. Try writing without Copilot, and you'll realize that you just like stop, and your brain just like literally turns off. LSP for faster navigation, by the way, is very, very good. I like that. You like literally turn off your brain, and it's just super annoying. And you're like, why am I turning it off all the time? With my work, AI started to become less useful over time as well. Not only did it take out the fun for me, but I started to.
What's up, you creep?
So ask you, you want to come with me to go grab coffee beans? But
Yeah, I already have one. My bro. Appreciate the offer though. That's what happens when you wake up in the afternoon, my bro. Dave's already. Dude, I guess confidence. Not real. Same guy that you showed me before. Bro, that's the shit. Yeah. Logan. Logan. Oh.
to feel a bit insecure about making some implementation decisions myself. Oh, interesting. Outsourcing the decisions to the AI seemed a lot easier, but sometimes the AI couldn't figure things out, even with the best prompts. It was quite clear that because I did not practice the basics often, I was less capable with the harder parts as well. So this actually was an argument within there's a paper by Microsoft and Carnegie Mellon about the effects of turning off critical thinking and using AI. And they made this really great argument. I forget what there's an author that talks about to do the hard things requires you to do the easy things millions of times. And so one of their kind of core arguments of the paper was that by stopping doing the easy things, the harder things become harder, which is actually a pretty interesting argument. The paper took literally 30 pages to say times. And so one of their kind of core arguments of the paper was that requires you to do the easy things millions of times. And
Dude, it is raining. Dude, it is raining. Like, really raining. Oh. Oh, dude, you want me to come with you, bro? I can come with you. It's fine. Yeah, well, Tyson wouldn't walk to the store to get it beforehand, so. Do I agree with that statement? Doing the hard things requires doing the easy things a million times. Reminds me of doing free throws in basketball, or rather, shooting. Maybe.
Sure.
What's up, bro?
Great.
Oh yeah, it's raining. It's definitely raining. Oh, wow. That's intense. I'll come with you, bro. Just gotta make sure my stream is entertained when I leave. How do I get rid of this thing too? 5 mins?
What do you mean wait 10 minutes? Oh. Like you're saying, wait for me for 10 minutes. Like for example, since you don't use your brakes as often because I mean the myth is that electric vehicles don't require brake changes. They do a little bit, but it's a lot less often than normal people. And on top of that, you have to like burn the brake pads because you use them, so you're not using them as much. Use what brakes? Yeah, exactly. Let's drive up now. Not back down. What brakes? Doing it selfish.
Of course you do, bro. You're a crazy guy, bro. Dude, check out my launcher, bro. I got it. It's longer than shit.
And it's just gonna say like the stream starting.
Yes, it's something that I play a song and it's there.
But you should have the thing that says stream starting.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's tuning in for them like that, so.
Think about it. If they're on there, like, well, what is this? It just says data back.
Yeah,
The stream's gonna start. Like,
yeah, stick around and find out. It's on the counter. Alright. Sorry, stream. I had to hang out with my brother. Score board. Well. I know. What is this toolbar? View. I don't really know what changes it. Alright. My apologies. We're back then. I've decided I don't want to listen to this. Is Art dead? Don't care, but Sam Holman, thanks. Naval Ravikant and Chris Williamson. I was listening to this stuff. So the worst outcome in life is low self-esteem.
But I look at the people who don't like themselves, and that's the toughest slot because they're always wrestling with themselves, and it's hard enough to face the outside world. And no one's going to like you more than you like yourself. So if you're struggling with yourself, then the outside world becomes an insurmountable challenge. And it's hard to say why people have low self-esteem. It might be genetic. It might just be circumstantial. A lot of times I think it's because they just weren't unconditionally loved as a child, and that sort of seeps in at a deep core level. But self-esteem issues can be the most limiting. One interesting thought is that, to some extent, self-esteem is a reputation you have with yourself. You're watching yourself at all times. You know what you're doing, and you have your own.
Self-esteem is it's a relationship. Is it what reputation you have with yourself? Okay. Go.
Life is going to play out the way it's going to play out. There will be some good and some bad. Most of it is actually just up to your interpretation. You're born, you have a set of sensory experiences, and then you die. How you choose to interpret those experiences is up to you, and different people interpret them in different ways. Yeah, it's the old line about two people walking down the street. They're having the exact same experience. One is happy, one is sad, right? It's a narrative in their heads. It's how they choose to interpret. So I think when I said that, it was a long time ago, I was talking more about having positive interpretations and negative interpretations. But these days, I think it's better just not to have any interpretations. And to just allow things to be. You're still going to have interpretations. You can't stop it, and nor should you try. But even that having an interpretation is just a thing you can leave alone. Yeah, I really want to try and just dig in a little more to the best way to remind people that they should value their time. Just how brief it is, that the time that you spend ruminating, being distracted, fears of the past, regrets. Well, I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life. I would just say that to the extent that you want to improve your quality of life, the easiest and best way to do that is to observe your own mind and your own thoughts and be a little, not necessarily critical, but
be observant of yourself more objectively, and then you'll kind of realize your own loops and patterns. It takes time. It's not overnight. It's not instantaneous.
So you mean letting go is not a one-time event?
Yeah, and there's letting go is not necessarily even the right answer. Like, yes, if you're trying to be an enlightened being and you want to live like a god and everything's gonna be perfect and be a Buddha, sure, you can let go. But I think in practice it's actually quite hard to do. I think I would say that it's you're going to find a lot of fulfillment out of life by just doing what you want to do and genuinely exploring what it is that you want, rather than doing what other people expect you to do or society expects you to do, or what you might just think it should be done by default. I think most older successful people will tell you that their life was best when they lived it unapologetically on their own terms. Be selfish.
Holistic selfishness.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
We can clip that little.
I'm telling you,
that
that's
be
what it is.
selfish.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
it.
we're
Just
gonna
keep running
say
it
there's a
back.
bad guy. Great.
I had this insight, or a question, I guess. How much do you think that we should trust the voice in our heads? Because half of wisdom suggests to rely on your sort of bottom-up intuition, and then half of it has to be sort of top-down rational as possible. How do you navigate the tension between head and gut in this way?
I think the gut is what decides. The head is kind of what rationalizes it afterwards. The gut is the ultimate decision maker. If it doesn't, and what is the gut? The gut is refined judgment. It's taste.
Aggregator.
Aggregated. And it could be aggregated through evolution, and it's in your genes and your DNA, or it could be aggregated through your experiences and what you've thought through. The mind is good at solving new problems, and new problems in the external world that have defined edges, beginnings and ends and objectives. What the mind is actually really bad at is making hard decisions. So when you have a hard decision to make, I find it's better to, yes, you ruminate on it, you think through all the pros and cons, but then you sleep on it. You wait a couple of days. You wait until the gut answer appears with conviction and it feels right. And when you're younger, it takes longer because you just don't have as much experience. And when you're older, it can happen much faster, which is why,
And you have less time to.
Yeah, and old people are more set in their ways as a consequence, right? They know what they want, they know what they don't want. So it takes time to develop your gut instinct and judgment. But once you've developed them, don't trust anything else, because you can't go against your gut. It'll bite you in the end. Usually in relationships that failed, you can look back and say, oh, actually, I knew it was going to fail because of this reason, but I kind of went ahead anyway because I wanted it to be this way, right? I wanted this person to be a different way than they are. Or I wanted to get a different thing out of it than I knew I was going to get, but I just wanted it. So sometimes desire will override your judgment and then trap
Wishful
you.
thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking. It traps you into a pathway that choose at time.
What's that insight of yours? We think we can't change ourselves, but we can. We think we can change other people, but we can't.
Underwritten media and some physics stuff. I don't like to talk about it. So I don't talk about my whatever so-called philanthropy, because I think that makes it less real. That makes it more status
Makes
oriented.
it less philanthropic.
Yeah, exactly. And then people
Look at how charitable my charity is.
And then people also come hunting for money. So there's all that disease. I don't believe in giving to schools. They have enough money. Ivy Leagues have enough money and they don't know how to spend it. So I think the best use of money is, I think a good business creates a product for people that they voluntarily buy and they get value out of. So in that sense, I think Steve Jobs and Elon and entrepreneurs like that have created a lot of value for the world. So one of the things I can do is I can take my own money and I can invest it in myself to go and build the next great thing that I think needs to exist. And that's basically what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a new business. I'm self-funding it. I'm applying a lot of money into it. I'm going to build something that I think is beautiful, that I want to see exist. I really want to see it
Have
exist.
you spoken about this yet, or is it still dark mode?
It's so early. It's maybe I'll show it to you in a few months. Hopefully 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it, and that's a good use of money.
What about the worst places to spend wealth?
Huh?
What is the old line? If it flies, floats, or
I'm just
fornicates.
playing, bro.
Well, very nice way to change the final F. Very impressive.
That's the way I heard it. I
Okay,
can't take credit
I'm
for
pretty
it.
sure it's
Yeah.
facts, but yeah.
Yeah. I think that was maybe it was Felix Dennis.
Okay.
Who had that quote?
Yeah.
He said if it flies, floats, or fornicates, rented. I think the last one was a little too. It's wrong in that he didn't have a family, didn't have kids, so he missed the big one.
Yep.
But yeah, there are lots of bad ways to spend money. I believe in investment. I don't believe in consumption. Yes, you're born with a short housing position. You close that out. You get yourself a nice house. Get yourself some help to free up your time, so you're not doing things that other people can do better. Treat people well. Always overpay and expect the best. Pay them like they're the best and then expect the best. But overall, I think a good use of money is to take risks and build things and do things that other people can't do. Align it with your own unique talents so you can keep delivering to the world. I'm not going to sit idle. I'm not going to retire. That's a waste of whatever time I have left on this earth. And if I'm doing something I enjoy, then I'm already in perpetual retirement. Because work is just a set of things you want to do that you have to do that you don't want to do. So if you want to I do it, it's not work. And so there are things that I want to do, don't feel like work. I can put money behind them, and I can use that to instantiate them into reality. And I don't want to say make the world a better place because that's too trite, but it's more just create a product that I'm proud of that wouldn't exist otherwise, that other people will get tremendous value.
And it's been enabled through wealth because you're able to take a level of risk that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah, wealth gives you freedom. It gives you freedom to explore more options. And in my case, it gives me freedom to start businesses without having to ask other people for permission or to warp my vision based on their desires to make a return or how they think money should be made.
Is there anything that you'd add to the how to get rich thread? Is there anything where you thought, fuck, like just one, if I could go in and edit and add one more in or
there's like 10,000 things. I could talk about that topic forever, to be honest. Like that thread was so short and it was so limited and it was so crafted in a sense, although I wrote it very spontaneously. It left so much on the cutting room floor that I could just talk about that topic for days. But it's all contextual, right? Business is very, very, very contextual. Like you have to look at the particular business and understand what's being done and why it's being done and how it's being done. And then you can tear it apart or you can and then reassemble it properly. And I like to think that that is actually where I have specific knowledge and expertise. My specific knowledge and expertise is not in happiness and not in philosophy. Yes, my life is very hacked to be very unique, but I don't think that's where my specific knowledge is. My specific knowledge is in being able to analyze a business, especially a technology business, and take it apart at the seams and predict in advance what is likely to work and what is not likely to work. Clubhouse notwithstanding. Because you're still going to be wrong most of the time. It's like playing the lottery, but you know one or two of the tickets numbers in advance. You only have to be right a few times or even just once to get the big score. Peter Thiel started PayPal, but he made all his money on Facebook, right? And now he's done more since then, obviously, but that was the big winner. And that's true in any power law distribution. Number one is going to return more than 2 through n put together. 2 will return more than 3 through n put together. You're operating in a highly leveraged intellectual domain, so the outcomes are going to be nonlinear. So I know a lot about the topic, but it's highly contextual. It makes a lot more sense if there's a specific business in front of me, a specific entrepreneur, and I can take that apart. And I can say, so there are certain companies where I'll say, oh, this is not going to work because you, the entrepreneur, are doing this for the wrong reasons. You're doing A so you can get to B, just go to B. Or you're doing this to make money when really the person who's doing this because they love the product is going to beat you. Or you're raising money from the wrong people who are in it for the wrong reasons. Or your co-founder is not in it for the right reasons. Or you don't have the right kind of co-founder. Or your vesting schedule is wrong. Or you're starting the business in the wrong place. Or you're approaching it from this angle instead of that angle. And of course, I'll be wrong too. But I've just seen a lot of data. I have my theories around it. And that's where I feel very comfortable operating. The problem is when I have to talk about how to create wealth. And how to get rich is a clickbait title, deliberately. But when I talk about how to create wealth, talking about it in the abstract is very difficult because then you just want to speak truth. You have to just say the timeless stuff. You have to be right in almost every context. And so it really limits what you can say.
The lack of specificity makes it,
correct. It's back to philosophy. But when I can get specific about it, that's when the real knowledge
you can be like a wealth counselor for the
part of the reason why I started doing podcasts, and this is ego at play, so I'll admit it freely. When I was tweeting, I kind of pioneered philosophy Twitter, if you will, or a certain kind of practical philosophy Twitter, where in 140 characters, I would try to say something true in an interesting way that was insightful to me at the time. But then that got copied. There's thousands of us now, right? Thousands of people spitting it out, ChatGPT, trying to create these things all day long. Although I like to think that my stuff is incompressible. I'm saying it in the tightest way possible, which is kind of a little failed poetry background. But what I realized was if you truly have a deep understanding of something, then you can talk about it all day long. Then you can rederive everything you need from that understanding. No memorization required. You can get to it from first principles. And every piece of what you know is like it's like a Lego block that just fits in and forms a steel frame. It's solid. It's locked in there. And so on a podcast, I can unload much more deeply about some of these topics, solving them, and then finding the commonalities. What is philosophy? Everyone, you live long enough, you'll be a philosopher. Philosophy is just when you find the hidden generalizable truths among the specific experiences that you've had in life. And then you know how to navigate future specific experiences based on some heuristics, and you create a philosophy around that. Any subject.
You mentioned historians before. One of my friends has a question. His equivalent of Peter Thiel's question of what is it that you believe that most people would disagree with? His is, what do you think is currently ignored by the media but will be studied by historians?
You're asking me that question right now? What do I think is ignored by the media but will be studied by historians? Well, I mean, the media is only focused on very timely things, right? So it depends if you want to talk about timely or timeless, right? But as a simple example, if I just look at things that maybe the next 5 or 10 years that are going to make a massive difference that people are not focused enough on, and I think within 2 years this will be obvious. So like, then I make a prediction. Well, predictions are tough, but
you're gonna have to eat it in a few years.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to eat this in a few years, so I'm probably wrong. But 2 things that I pay attention to that I don't think a lot of people do pay attention to. Well, there's a couple. One is I think just how bad modern medicine is. I think people just put a lot more faith in modern medicine than is warranted. Like our best ideas for a lot of things are surgery, just cutting things out, right? Treating things that are extraneous, like, oh, you don't really need a gallbladder, you don't really need an appendix, or you don't really need tonsils. All that's false.
Surplus requirement.
Human body is very, very efficient. All those things are needed. So I think the state of modern medicine is still pretty bad. We don't have many good explanatory theories in biology. We have germ theory disease, we have evolution, we have cell theory, we have DNA, genetics, morphogenesis, embryogenesis, and not much else. There's not much else. Everything else is rules of thumb, memorization. A affects B because affects C affects D, but we don't understand the underlying explanation. It's all just words point to words point to words. So biology is still in a very sorry state, and because we are not allowed to take risk that might kill people, we just don't experiment enough in biology. So a lot of treatments are just outright banned by large regulatory bodies. So we just don't have the innovation. So I think we're still in the Stone Age when it comes to biology, and we've got a long ways to go. And I think people will look back aghast at this. And I think this is Brian Johnson's point. He's like, let's be more extreme. Let's try to live forever.
Experimental.
Let's be more experimental, and I'll start as N of 1 and start experimenting on myself. And but even there, I disagree with Brian on many things, like taking huge amounts of supplements. I think we just don't know supplements outside of their natural context. Like just eat liver, man, right? But it's fine, and I wouldn't be vegan either. But I really appreciate that he's experimenting. He's good natured about it. He shares everything. So we need more people like that. So I think the state of biology, people will look back and say, wow, that was in the dark ages. I think another thing that we'll look back on is I think we still continue to underestimate how important drones are going to be in warfare. The future of all warfare is drones. There will be nothing else on the battlefield because I think of the end state of drones as autonomous bullets, not even guided, autonomous, like they're self-directed. And so if that's the future we're headed towards, and it is just
why would you have an armed force?
There's going to be no aircraft carriers, there's going to be no tanks, there's going to be no infantrymen. There's just going to be autonomous bullets. Why autonomous bullets against your autonomous bullets? Whichever ones win, the other side just surrenders. It's over. I think that's the second piece of it. I think a third piece that is going to be kind of unexpected is the GLP-1s, which I know you and I privately discussed before. I think these are the most breakthrough drugs since antibiotics. They're probably more important than statins. They're sort of miracle drugs. They seem to, there are downsides, but the downside and side effects are so minor compared to the upsides beyond just weight loss. They also...
Anyway, so that's enough of that.
Vancouver is well known for some of its beautiful hiking trails in the forests and mountains close to the city. In this video, we're going to check out 5 waterfalls that are within the Metro Vancouver area. The spring months and after rainfalls are the best times to view waterfalls. The Lower Cypress Falls is a spectacular sight and only a short distance from the beginning of the trail. The 3-kilometer hike gains about 130 meters in elevation, taking you past some large Douglas fir trees to Upper Cypress Falls. Twin Falls is located in Lynn Canyon in North Vancouver, just downstream from the popular Lynn Canyon.
That makes no sense. I'm not asking you to ask it yet. That's the thing. Stay. That's the lesson. Yeah. Bro, you're doing the last step. Good morning, you. Just you say, George. No, like Brandon is super excited for this. Got it. If you steal it, I would the grants that would be fine. That's great. They'll spit on the ground. Yes. Friends. Don't do this. Let it go. Brown suit. Little gay, so. Anger sparks. You know what agents are? So we're all the agents are. Yeah. The survey of France. Well, France. So this guy who's talking to France. Never heard that movie, man? That's it's engaged. Yes. Yeah, somehow like see the end of it. It's so fucking big. So yeah. How friends with fucking that was a cheap fucking mission. Maybe Canada is basically where there was recently this one drug bust. I think it's out of the mission. They found like staying down like the salt. Yeah, this was a drug bust. Yeah. I mean, it's not as common. Like when you hear about that, you're like, chill. Like, you can see that form is like the jogging stuff. That's really the thing on the game or big monkey. What? Yeah, but the directors back up. Like yeah. Come on, George. Come on, man. Fucking sing all the line last night. How much you opportunity? It's out.
Okay, so Vancouver has 3 watersheds. I just found this out today. There's Seymour, Capilano, and Coquitlam, I think is what it says here. Yeah, Capilano, Seymour, Coquitlam, which together provide over 3 million residents with a clean, reliable, affordable supply of drinking water. The rain and melting snow flow downhill through the mountain creek into collection lakes called reservoirs. Store these this year water year round for drinking supply. Metro Vancouver's reservoirs are also bolstered from the 3 alpine lakes: Burwell Lake, Palisade Lake, and Loch Lomond. These feeder lakes are typically used in midsummer to supplement the supply of water available in the Capilano and Seymour reservoirs. The water from those deep, cold lakes is particularly high quality and serves to cool the water in the main reservoirs. Reservoirs. 3. There's an alpine lake. An alpine lake is a body of water located in a mountainous range, typically at a high elevation above sea level. Very interesting. What are these alpine lakes? Burwell Lake. Can you access it? The Burwell Lake. Did I just look at this? What waterfall is that? I swear, I just like, proceed cautiously on this 24-kilometer out and back trail north Vancouver. For the man on the run. Kennedy Falls. Oh, no. Birdful. We add that one too. Witness hiking. Palisade and locked them on. Man, it looks beautiful. I didn't know Scotland had it like that. Uh-huh. Is that not what it was called? Loch Lomond? Am I tripping? Loch Lomond. That's a pretty cool place. Places to visit bucket list. Maybe I'll add that. I don't know. That's just note. Places visit. Loch Lomond, Scotland. For the man on the run. That just looks pretty baller. Searching it for the man on the run. World's most senseless hike. Nice. Menanderan. Uh, this guy is just a trapaholic, bro. Any and all hours a day, bro, is playing Schedule 1. Just building. Oh no, have fun. Hey man, I'm not judging. Just what kind of whip are you buying here, bro? How much does this game cost? Is this your setup? Standard. Deadly. Man, just doing the thing. Yeah. I've already went for a walk today. Yeah. I went to the coffee shop with Sig. Oh, just some more. No. Got the beans, the espresso machine. Yeah, what about you, man? You just roll around in bed for a few hours and yeah, deadly. What time do you stay up till? No. Wait, don't you go back to work? Like I thought it was Sunday. When do you go back? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'll head out then. Cool. Searching for the man on the run. What does that say then? Cursor Course version 3 is on the way. This will include a new set of lessons reflect on the latest features and improvements. The Cursor would also be on Tuesday, April 8th. We felt time to upgrade it ASAP. A lot has changed in 3 weeks. Now that's wrapped up. The first 3 hours of Vibe Code Camp are fully released, and new lessons will resume this evening. All VCC lessons have both video and text coverage. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of content here. The new Cursor course coming out. This is the MCP course I was offering. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to commit to doing this right now. 1 hour, 45 minutes, or 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 2 hours. About 2 hours this will take. Okay. 2 hours, 10 minutes. It says right there. Perfect. Learn what MCP is, why it matters, and how to build MCP servers. Okay. Yeah, let's give that a crack. I'll be back.
Sometimes it seems like being in life is like the hardest thing you think in the world to be. Can you be inside? Find what kind of fun that evolutionary nature is that? That's it's
All right. MCP. Wait, is this actually the thing that I want to do right now? What other courses are there? Because MCP seems a little bit different than what I'm really trying to do. How long is this course?
Welcome into Takeoff's Model Context Protocol course. This is one of the most requested courses we've got in recent weeks here, so we want to make sure that we deliver for all of you. Model Context Protocol, as it's popularly known by MCP, is basically a standard for providing tools and resources to all your favorite AI apps. So we're going to talk about the protocol a little bit more in depth in just a second, but first I want to talk a little bit about format for this course and how we're going to keep things updated. So as you'll see here, if we go to the MCP docs updates here, you kind of see they have a little bit of a changelog. MCP is kind of under active development right now. It's changing very often. This is something that's going to continue to evolve pretty rapidly, especially kind of over the coming months here. As you'll see here in the roadmap here that the MCP team has provided, you can see they kind of have this first half of 2025 roadmap, and we're going to be getting a lot of different things coming up. Okay, so we're going to get things like remote MCP connections. So one of the things you'll notice in this course is that all of the MCP servers, which don't worry if you don't know what these terms are, we're going to talk about this in the upcoming lessons, but all the MCP servers are going to be running locally on your computer. Okay, they're not going to be typically hosted on URLs. So once MCP kind of ships better support for kind of live MCP connections and things like authentication, things like the MCP registry, which is under works right now, and things like that. We're going to continue to update this course over time. We'll add to it. If we need to redo the entire thing for you guys, we'll redo it. Okay, very similar if you're familiar with how we kind of keep our cursor course up to date when new versions come in. We're going to be doing the exact same thing with our MCP course. So just want to say that up front. Whenever MCP has major changes, make sure to come back, check out the course. We're going to have all the latest updates available for you guys so that you can always be building your MCP servers and eventually your MCP clients with all the latest and greatest tools and all the available feature set. So that being said, what is MCP? Why do you need to worry about it? All that kind
Still looking?
of stuff. So like I said, MCP is just basically a standardization protocol for providing tools and resources to your apps. So why do we need a standardization? What is a standardization? What does that even mean? But basically, think of it like this. This is kind of the analogy that the MCP docs give, which I think is pretty apt. I think it's a helpful framework to kind of think of, which is that MCP is sort of like a USB-C port for your AI apps, which it standardizes how all of these apps connect to these servers. So what is an MCP server? I've said this term a few times now. Let's kind of simplify things. So the focus of this course is going to be on building MCP servers. So we'll talk about kind of all the different pieces and the terminology in the next section. There's clients, there's servers, there's hosts. If we actually look at this architecture diagram, which we're going to be going over a little bit more in depth in the next section, but what we're going to be focusing on mostly are all of these MCP servers. And this is what many of you who are kind of wanting to learn about MCP, this is what you want to learn. What you want to learn is you want to learn how to build these bundles of tools and resources, right? You're basically trying to build these integrations that you can just plug in to your apps and your agents and all these different things that you're kind of seeing go viral, on X and on YouTube and all, the different platforms. People are super excited about MCP, and they're excited because everybody's building servers that they're plugging in to things like Cloud Desktop, into Cursor, into Windsurf, into Client, all these popular clients, and they're basically able to just add a bunch of their different tools to their LLMs in their standard workflows. Okay, so we're going to be teaching you guys how to do that. One of the things that I think is really important with MCP is don't overthink it. Okay, so the MCP docs, like I said, very well done. Highly recommend that you kind of peruse through here. The team did a really good job with this, and they've made it very easy to build off of, which again, we're going to talk about all the great stuff here in the docs in the upcoming lesson. But when you're going through here, some of the stuff can seem a little bit overcomplicated, and that's just because they use a lot of different fancy terminology, and there's a lot going kind of on at the protocol level that you don't really need to worry about, right? That's a great thing about MCP is kind of the MCP team or the Anthropic team that's sort of overseeing the open source protocol here, right? This is kind of stuff they need to worry about. When it comes to you and just trying to build these integrations to give these sets of tools to your actual apps, you don't really need to get too in the weeds there. You really just need to know about kind of these core concepts, which the docs very conveniently explain very clearly, very concisely with actual example code too, which is super helpful. So we're mostly going to keep things simple here. One of the things I do recommend if you want a little bit more of an in-depth kind of discussion workshop on MCP, especially how it relates to agents, which I think is a helpful framework to learn because it kind of makes the why of MCP click a little bit more, is Anthropic a couple weeks ago had this building agents with model context protocol. They had this like hour and 45-minute workshop that's really, really well done. One of the things I do recommend if you do watch this is you'll notice this is pretty long. A lot of the time in this video is actually just like Q&A with the audience. I actually think you can kind of skip through that and probably get to the bulk of the presentation, especially if you watch on like 1.25x, probably in like 30, 35, 40 minutes. But this is a really great workshop if you want to go a little bit more in depth. So that's a really, really good video by Anthropic self. So kind of really nice to sort of first party resource there. Let's talk a little bit more about the why of model context protocol. So you kind of at least have this general sense now, okay, MCP is sort of this protocol
Very-
for building integrations for LLM apps, right? That's pretty straightforward. That's a pretty good one-liner. Mostly sums up the bulk of what MCP is. But why do we need it? So the nice thing about a standard, right, is you can build an MCP server, for example, and you know that you can build that server once and you can use it everywhere, right? You can use it in Windsurf, you can use it in Cloud Desktop, you can use it in Cursor. So all of these different clients that support the MCP protocol, you're going to build kind of the suite of tools, and you're just going to be able to use it.
MCP is an open protocol that standardizes how applications provide context to LLMs. Think of an MCP like a USB-C port for AI applications. Just as USB-C provides a standardized way to connect your devices to various peripherals and accessories. Those are good words. I like the peripherals and accessories. Notes. MCP, okay. MCP provides a standardized way to connect AI models to different data sources and tools. MCP is an open protocol that standardizes how applications provide context to LLMs. Think of MCP like a USB-C port for AI applications. MC helps you build agents and complex workflows on top of LLMs. LLMs frequently need to integrate with data and tools, and MCP provides pre-built integrations that your LLM can directly plug into. The flexibility to switch between LLM providers and vendors, best practices for securing your data with infrastructure. Okay. New chat, Command J. Nice. Learning about MCPs today. Give me a list of accounts, web pages, and forums for seeing what people are producing, explaining MCPs, hosting different servers to plug in. Ultimate, okay. Since you're learning about MCPs, compiled a list of accounts and web pages and forums where you can explore what people are producing, find explanations about MCPs, and discover hosting options or servers to plug into. Cool. Probably getting a little bit off track here with this, but 3-minute read. Today we're open sourcing the Model Context Protocol, a new standard for connecting AI systems to the systems where data lives, including content repositories, business tools, and development environments. Its aim is to help frontier models produce better, more relevant responses. As AI assistants gain mainstream adoption, the industry has invested heavily in model capabilities, achieving rapid advances in reasoning and quality. Yet even the most sophisticated models are constrained by their isolation from data. Trapped behind information silos and legacy systems, every new data source requires its own custom implementation, making truly connected systems difficult to scale. MCP addresses these challenges. It provides a universal open standard for connecting AI systems with data sources, replacing the fragmented integrations with a single protocol. The result is a simpler, more reliable way to give AI systems access to the data they need. Model Context Protocol. The Model Context Protocol is an open standard that enables developers to build secure, two-way connections between their data sources and AI-powered tools. The architecture is straightforward. Developers can either expose their data through MCP servers or build AI applications, i.e. MCP clients, that connect to those servers. Today, we are introducing three major components of the Model Context Protocol for developers: the Model Context Protocol specifications and SDKs, local MCP server support in the Claude desktop apps, and an open source repository of MCP servers. Cool. Let's make sure we're adding these links. Okay, so start here with that one, which then takes you to this one, the Model Context Protocol. So that's kind of the site that we're on, so I'm not going to share that. Claude desktop apps. Meet Claude on your desktop, always there when you need it. Claude sits quietly in your workload, no tab hopping required. So, what is this? Always there. Is it going to tell me more about this Mac OS? Oh, it downloads it? No, I don't want to do that. Claude. Download Claude for Mac. Learn more API Anthropic. Anyways, okay. Maybe we won't get to this yet. Go back. Cool. Local MCP server support in the Claude desktop apps. I do really like Claude. Do I want them on my computer? Can't lie, I kind of prefer Claude. What does their app actually look like? Let's see. If it isn't a nice UI, I probably need to get rid of it. Looks pretty similar. We use Focus to deliver and improve our systems, analyze that usage, and if you agree, no, reject that, yeah. Fastest way to talk to Claude, continue with Google. Continue with Google. Quick entry, send messages and screenshots to a Claude app from any app. What does it say? Option space. Use quick entry to send messages and screenshots. Try quick entry. Okay, it was option space, I think, right? What can I help you with today? Oh, wow, that's beautiful. I do like that style, concise, explanatory, sonnet. Haiku fast model for daily tasks, more models. Pro. Most intelligent model. Very nice. I'll probably keep it, to be honest. Anyways. And then an open source repository. At least something that up. Servers, model context protocol servers. So this repository is a collection of reference implementations, as well as references to community-built servers and additional resources. The servers in this repository showcase the versatility and extensibility of MCP, demonstrating how it can be used to give large language models secure, controlled access to tools and data sources. Each MCP server is implemented in either TypeScript or Python. Retrieval from AWS knowledge base using Bedrock Agent Runtime. Brave Search web and local search using Brave Search API, AI image generation from various models. Test server with prompt resource and tools, web content fetching and conversion for efficient. Secure file operations and configurable access, tools to read, search, and manipulate Git repos. It's like VO, but in your cursor 21st management, it's very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, let's put this here. These servers are very nice. Okay, very cool. Time and conversion capabilities, data interaction, business intelligence capabilities. What is a way I could use MCP and Clay together? Okay. Very interesting. I'm gonna save this link too. Clay Creators Program. Very interesting. Let's get rid of that. To clarify, I assume MCP refers to Microsoft Certified Professional. No. MCP as in Model Context Protocol. Did this Daniel guy get back to me? Okay, my apologies for the misunderstanding. Da 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 da. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Okay, so let me close that down. Ocean Basin, database and its tools. So many interesting ones. Ableton Live. Oh, wow. Look at that. Read and write access searchable. Is there a Clay one? There must be. Okay, that seems like there's something there. Yeah, I'm gonna start this repo automatically. Run it locally. An MCP server to manage your inbox efficiently. Use it with Cursor, Windsurfer, Claude Desktop to interact with your Inbox Zero personal assistant. Inbox Zero, what is that? Inbox Zero. Inbox Zero. Inbox Zero is in a pipe dream. Is it a company? Huh. Well, let's just look how they make it actually, because that would be just index.ts. Import MCP server, studio server transport, API key. If API key, do this, const server, new MCP server name, inbox 0 AI version 0.1. Make a inbox 0 request, const center, API key, content this, console log make a request this, try, fetch the URL. Does it ask for that? Try const response. Const response equals await, fetch the URL in the headers. Part of what you put into this is the URL. Yeah, the URL. It's a promise because there's this fetch in here. If there is no response, or if the response is not okay, await the response text, console error, HTTP server status, response status. Then throw a new error, return, await response JSON as a T promise. If there's a catch the error, reply. Server tool get emails needing to follow up. Interesting. Okay, is that it? In the example, API key, readme, package JSON, TS configuration. I don't really know what this does. What does this do? Inbox 0 product hunt, product of the day. Very cool. Very nice. Is that for you? Me, your AI email assistant that actually works. This is this private? I'm not sure. Helping it so far cleaned up my top cluttering tool. Onboarding started. I'm subscribing from the worst spammers in just 3 minutes. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I love that though. There's so many interesting servers. I really, really like this ability here. Make, turn your make scenarios into callable tools. Interesting. Make is AI agents, right? Automation, you can see flex and scale. Visualize a more productive future. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what is it? Command T? Nice. Command Shift T for anybody using Google Chrome. Command Shift T will undo any Chrome windows that you just freeze on. So that's a nice little trick for y'all, free game type shit. So interesting. Community servers. A growing set of community develop, maintained servers demonstrate various applications of MCP across a set of domains. Untested should be used at your own risk. They're not affiliated with or endorsed by Anthropic. I love that there isn't a clay one. And I think that's going to have to be something that I build. Okay. There isn't one, so yeah, that's fine. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we read through that. Yeah, basically MCP is a universal standard to interact with these things. Interesting. Adapted quickly. Building MCP server implementations, making it easy for organizations and individuals to rapidly connect their most important data sets with a range of AI-powered tools. To help developers start exploring, we're sharing pre-built MCP servers for popular enterprises like Google Drive, Slack, GitHub, Git, Postgres, and Puppeteer. What is Puppeteer? Puppeteer. Actually, I'm gonna make this note here. Let's that clay make MCP server to connect to Clay? Question mark? Clay creator program. Okay, MCP. 21st century this servers. Puppeteer is a JavaScript library which provides a high-level API to control Chrome, Firefox over the DevTools protocol or WebDriver. Interesting. Okay. Early adopters like Block and Apollo have already integrated MCP into their systems, while development tool companies like Zed, Replit, Codium, Sourcegraph are working with MCPs to enhance their platforms, enabling AI agents to better retrieve relevant information to further understand the context around coding a task and producing more nuanced and functional code with fewer attempts. Quote, AppBlock open source is more than a development tool. I was going to say developmental, but development. AppBlock open source is more than a development tool. It's a foundation of our work and commitment to creating technology that drives meaningful change and serves as a public good for all. Open source technologies like MCP are the bridges that connect AI to real world applications, ensuring innovation is accessible, transparent, and rooted in collaboration. So, we are excited to partner on a protocol and use it to build agentic systems which remove the burden of mechanical so people can focus on the creative. How do I contextualize this for people? Again, I don't really know who's watching this. I mean, I do know who's watching this, nobody. So, I'm not really sure what's going to be the most relevant for this community that we're trying to build here. And I don't even know if we're really trying to build a community. I think I mentioned this yesterday or the day before, but you know what I hope to get from this, or what I hope to provide from this live stream is like, one, I just want to build in public. I'm a huge Bitcoin supporter. One of the fundamental ideas of Bitcoin is this idea of proof of work, which is a technical thing in that it's explaining the mining system and the idea of like, hey, we can reasonably expect, or we can reasonably assume that you provided enough work, enough energy to the system because you were able to guess this number. And because it's such a random number, it's really, it's a lottery of some sort. And we just need a bunch of people paying into that lottery to increase the block reward. And fundamentally, not increase the block reward, my mistake, to increase the amount of compute that is contributed to the network, i.e., make the network more secure. And so proof of work is that technical implementation, which I perhaps may have actually butchered that, but it's also this philosophical thing that has been adopted, and sort of like a tenet of being a Bitcoin is this idea of proof of work, in that like you put in work, and to have proof of work is kind of your resume. Again, it's kind of shown in society. Oh, I'm getting a call here. Hello, go ahead. Not much, man. What are you up to? Oh, dude, I'm on stream, bro. Yep, yeah. I'm on YouTube. Tap in. Okay. Is that it? Anyways, so again, there's this proof of work thing, and so I am doing what I'm doing here to provide that proof of work, but also I'm hoping that I can show AI's human sort of fallibility in that large amount of workflows relatively schizophrenic, kind of lazy. I'm just kind of poking around per using as much as I can, and just trying to cast as wide of a net and see what really pulls at me and follow my natural curiosities, which is hard in the bank account. But anyways, that's another thing. Cool. So instead of maintaining separate connectors for each data source, developers can now build against a standard protocol. As the ecosystem matures, AI systems will maintain context as they move between different tools and data sets. Very interesting. Okay, so we learned that. What are some of these tweets? Tanner, what's up, man? What's up, dude? Oh yeah, type shit, man. Well, here it is. Okay, you want me to get out? I can leave again. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll be talking to stream, so pardon me. What's up? You just actually wanted to see what am I doing? Okay, okay. Well, so what's up? Yeah. Yeah, beautiful day for it, huh? That's what's up. Yeah, yeah, I feel you. No workout? Rest day? Okay, so it's not a not leave your house day. Yeah. That's what it sounds like, yeah. Cool, man. Cool, man. Cool, 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 cool. Well, yeah, here's the stream, bro. Just learning shit. I'm probably gonna tab back into the stream for a little bit because I do want to try to finish. There's a course that I'm gonna work through. So if you want to learn some shit, dude, feel free. Watch this. Yeah, yeah, tap in. And yeah, I'm down to run some Valorant. Down to run some Valorant. Yeah, I'll shoot some shit. Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. Say shit, peace. All right. So yeah, let's go through and read this again. Not even again. I didn't even really read it. The first time I just got too caught up in these links. But let's explore these links a little bit though. So still feeling the MCP FOMO, which is the issue actually, guys, is that you follow one link and the internet is just such a web that you can really get caught up in it. Chat. Let me hear some. Let me hear something in the chat. Play some tunes for you. What about this? I got this ragged bro. Yeah. At my job at Club. One day at the office, I was acting too aloof. And if I had my ass, that y'all fell through. I did to myself. Fuck. Ragged Pick myself back up, my swag is still too smooth. Yeah, the fun's just transferred. You could call me a chancellor the way I'm such a tactician. Don't hand me no map if it ain't got no traps hidden. Yeah, you took it to a tactician. Alright. Yeah. I need some echoes. I need some shadows. Bitch, this the digital Indiana Jones. Hey. And I got this different version of that one song that I made. That's not it. For them, all my bitches. This is a new edit to the song. Yeah, you thought the song was down. What the fuck you on? I can't rest my fucking song. I can't run me. What the fuck you? Cause I made a decision. What the fuck? Yeah, you thought the song was down. Yeah, you thought the song was down. What the fuck is on? I can't rest my fucking song. I can't run me. What the fuck you? Cause I made a decision. Alright, guys, no more fun. Sorry. Where were we? MCP servers. Okay. Oh, I wish I didn't. Okay. Tanner, cool little trick for you. Command Shift T on yours. I think your PC, so probably Control Shift T. But you can undo the closing of the tab. So feel free to pocket that one. Throw that in the bookmark. How long is this one? 20 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of watching that. It's a pretty simple one. I'm gonna bookmark all these and just get out of here. Close that one. Close that one. Close that one. We'll watch this.
Without MCP. So forget about MCP. And let's say you want to create an agent and you want that agent to communicate with different APIs. So for example, you want to communicate with Slack, Gmail, or just a custom database. So in order for you to do that, you will have to build these integrations from scratch. It's not just as simple as letting the model figure out the documentation of an API, because there are, for example, the Gmail API might allow you to delete messages, but you don't want your agent to have access to delete messages. So you want to restrict your agent somehow to only create new messages, right? Or maybe save drafts. You don't want the agent to have access to the full API. So in order to allow for that to happen, you're going to have to create some custom maybe prompts or some custom implementation that will restrict your agent or guide your agent to do only the things that you want to do, okay? The same thing happens when you want maybe custom messages. You want your agent to format messages in certain ways. So that communication, that specification, that implementation has to exist somehow. So let's say you build that as part of your agent. So now your agent knows how to use Slack and Gmail and the custom database. But all of a sudden, that agent, you give it away or you put it in public, and people want to use the same implementation with their agents. So maybe this agent here is Windsurf, the IDE, when you write code. And your IDE now, Windsurf, can communicate with Slack and Gmail and a database. And you want people now to use that agent in Cursor. So what's going to happen at that point is that all of the implementation that you did custom for Windsurf is not going to translate to Cursor now. So all of that work will have to be redone for Cursor, right? So that is the thing that the main idea here of MCP. MCP comes to reduce complexity because now you don't have to recreate all of those connections, implementations,
How do I group this?
Specifications for every single agent that you want to connect to all of those APIs. Now with MCP, you can have a standard that anyone can use to connect an LLM or an agent to your backend or different API. So in this particular case here, I have the MCP server here in the middle, and I want you to imagine that this MCP server communicates or knows how to connect to Slack, knows how to connect to Gmail, knows how to connect to the custom database, and the agent up here, that might be a custom agent, it might be Cloud Desktop, it might be Cursor, it might be, I don't know, Windsurf, whatever it is, that custom agent. Now we'll use the protocol.
API. What's going on here? Protocol. Hey, come on now. Here we go. What are you gonna do with the because I'm easy. Cool. So the MCP is a protocol to make this server, and the server can then plug into APIs. APIs are application protocol. And actually, what's the definition of API? Let's actually wait. I just did this. So give me a simple explanation / definition of an API. Explain it like I am 5. Applications like special messenger that helps you deliver, helps different computers talk to each other. Imagine you're in a restaurant, you can get a kitchen, make your own food. Yeah. So API, when you want information, want something to happen, 8 API that's not what I wanted to do. How do I make this text smaller? Copy, paste this text. No. Is there no way to? Oh yeah. Hey. There it is. Okay. Da 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 da. I don't give a damn about my reputation. Oh, wow, that's a. Anyways, back to this. Okay, what's this Santiago saying? Daily vitamins, what up? Oh, my one viewer's gone now, surely. He's left already? Surely. Okay. Okay. No, I'm just fucking with you, bro. Alright, peace. Tune it. Where did that? There it is.
Protocol to talk to that MCP server, and you can swap that agent. You can take this same thing to Windsurf, and the implementation, the glue, the custom specification will reside on the MCP server. So it doesn't matter what agent you use, you can still make the whole thing work. So even though we're adding that extra layer, is not to add complexity. We're actually reducing complexity because we can actually share this. So now imagine a company like Slack, they are now providing their MCP server. So you can come to your client application, let's say your IDE, and you can connect to the MCP server for Slack. And all of a sudden now Cursor, you can access Slack with it. Why? Because you have that specification. You can connect the same MCP. server to Cloud Desktop or your custom agent or Windsurf. It doesn't matter anymore because we're using that common specification. By the way, that common specification, you can Google it up. Here is their website. And they have here all of the core concepts and all of the stuff that you can do. Just as a quick, really quick overview, they have 3 concepts here. They have the hosts, and think of a host as, let's say, Cursor, your IDE, the application that implements the agent, right? Then they have clients, an MCP client. It's basically the structure or the tool that's going to communicate with a host, and with the server. And then you have the server, which is the one that contains the implementation that you want to access. So let's say Slack's MCP server, or Gmail's MCP server, or your own custom MCP server that's going to do some functionality. It's going to implement some functionality. Some of the things that you can do in those MCP servers, I'm not going to go through all of them. I think the most important one might be tools. So if you want to implement the calculator, if you want to implement a weather service, I'm going to show you a tool that I'm implementing right now. So you can expose those tools from the MCP server. So the client now, or the host application, let's call it Cursor, now can connect to my MCP server and immediately list all of the tools that are available to it. So it will know, oh, I can call this and I can use this tool and that tool. And this is not a new concept. Obviously, we've been using tools with Llama Index and LangChain and all of that forever. It's the same idea now for the MCP server. You also have the ability to share prompts. And those prompts, the LLM or the agent can use those prompts to do stuff, right? So you can share prompts, you can share resources. So let's say you have documentation. Now you can share those, that documentation, the documents, through that MCP server, so the agent knows how to maybe call the APIs or maybe do certain things in your code, assuming it's Cursor. So there is a lot of good information here. Check that out. I'm going to mention one more thing, and then I'm going to show you the code of what I'm building. The thing that I want to mention is that this MCP server here, even though if you're just adding MCP servers from different companies, every one of those MCP servers is going to be independent. So you're going to have one MCP server for Slack, one MCP server for Gmail, one MCP server maybe for your custom database. You can also implement an MCP server that does custom things that are really, really cool. So for example, imagine that you want to access Slack, access Gmail, and maybe write a log in your database. And you want all of that to happen at the same time. So instead of hoping for the LLM to do that through prompts, maybe you can encapsulate all of that functionality in your MCP server. That MCP server will call Slack, will call Gmail, will call your custom API, your custom database, and will do the logs and will do all of that. And now Cursor or your agent only needs to talk to your MCP server. All of that functionality is coded there. You don't have to rely on an LLM that is not always reliable. So anyway, a lot of cool stuff here. I'm just learning this. I don't even understand the possibilities here. Something that I can tell you is that I think Anthropic has a directory of MCP servers out there. Check that out. I think Composio has like more than 250 MCP servers that you can just plug and play into your clients. Check that out. So a lot of companies are exposing their functionality through these MCP servers, and that's super awesome. So now let me show you the one that I'm currently building. It's not done yet, but I can show what I have, and you can see it working, and you'll see it's super cool. So I have this project, which I'm working on. This is actually, this is the project. And this project here, is this the project? Yeah. So this is a machine learning project, and there are a lot of different pipelines that I need to run, a lot of different things that I need to manage, servers, etc. So one of the things that I do is I have a machine learning model that I can serve, and I need to evaluate that model, right? So I have standard evaluation things that I can run, but let me run the model here for just a second, because we're gonna need this. I'm just basically loading the model in memory and getting it ready to receive requests, receive predictions. So I'm gonna show you, the model is running now. I'm gonna open a new console, and I'm gonna say, just invoke. And this sent a request to the model. So if I go back to the model, you're gonna see it's making predictions. So received something, it's making a prediction. And you can see here the prediction coming back from the model. So I can test my model like this. However, this is something that I need to do, but it costs a lot of time. I want to experiment with that model by maybe changing the values that I send to the model. Maybe adding things, hey, don't send this specific field to see how the model reacts, or change the values for that particular field to 2 standard deviations so I can see how it works. So there are a bunch of different experiments. And in order to run all of those experiments, I will need to write scripts that do all of that for me. And every time I have a new idea, I will need to write a script to do that. So that gets all really, really quick. So what if I could just use Cursor to test my model? I can tell Cursor, this is how I want you to test my model, and allow Cursor to just do that for me. That will save me a ton of time. So the implementation to do this is actually very simple. So let me show you here my MCP server, or the one that I'm building right now, and you'll see how simple it is. And I'm gonna only show you a tool. There are more tools here in this MCP server. And if you want to know how to start, there is documentation in the Model Context Protocol website, with Python samples and JavaScript samples and whatnot. Let me just show you this one here, which is really, really easy. So there is a tool, and the tool, I'm calling it Invoke Model. And the tool is gonna receive a payload, okay? So the thing that the tool is going to do is just send a request post to that particular URL. So I'm gonna only be running this when the model is being served locally, just for testing purposes. So I'm pointing the request to localhost, to this particular URL, and I'm basically just...
I noticed. Yep. Cool. Puppeteer, cool. That's interesting. What's this? OBS, start learning. Okay, how long is this course? Start learning.
Before we get into the abstract details about what MCP actually is, let's look at the thing working. I'm a developer and my audience is mostly developers, so let's look at a developer use case. Let's connect up a GitHub MCP server to Claude Code. Claude Code is a really powerful terminal app that lets you throw Claude at your repository. It can edit code, suggest improvements, and basically act like a vibe coding assistant. You can follow along by installing Claude Code. I've already done this, so I'll just crack on. Then you'll want to grab a personal access token from GitHub. There's some links below to help you do both those things. Next, I'm going to open up a terminal and just run Claude. And we should see that we're inside the Claude Code research preview. My thinking for connecting Claude up to GitHub is that I've got an open source repository called Everlight. I've got some issues and some pull requests here that I kind of need to turn into code. And so having an LLM to help me deal with these issues will be really useful. To set up Claude, I'm going to run Claude MCP add. This opens up a dialog that lets me add an MCP server. I'm going to call it GitHub server here. I'm going to scope it to the current project. My command to run it is going to be npx. And the arguments I'm going to pass it are this Y flag and then this model context protocol server GitHub latest. This is the Anthropic official GitHub MCP server. Latest means I always get the latest version. And the Y just means it's going to automatically say yes to a dialog that says, do you want to download this? So let's enter through here. I'm then going to add my GitHub personal access token, and I'm going to just put it inside here. Of course, I'll leave it up to your imagination to actually put it in yourself. So there was a final step there to confirm, and my MCP server has been added successfully. I can now run Claude again to get this working, and as we can see, it's connected to my GitHub server. I'm going to ask it what issues are outstanding on the Everlight repo. Use the MCP server. And after a few seconds, we can see that it's going to request to call a tool for me. It's requesting to list the issues using the GitHub server, and it's choosing Mappocock and Everlight. I do want to proceed, and don't bother asking again. This one seems safe for it to just automatically run by itself. It then responds with a little summary saying there are 25 open issues. Dark mode support, latency tracking, syntax highlighting, and adding a license file. Let's ask it more details about the license file issue. It's requesting that the project include a license type. So I'm going to say to it, add a license file, use MIT, and change the package.json since the package.json is specifying ISC. Let's run this and see what happens. Claude Code is requesting to create a file with an MIT license, and then requesting to change the package.json too. So just like that, Claude Code has read the issue for us and then actually made the change to the repository. It could even then comment back to the user and close the issue for us. This should give you a sense for how powerful these kind of workflows can be. With a minimal amount of configuration, we were able to drastically improve our application and make our LLM workflows a lot more powerful. So freaking cool. And I will see you in the next one.
Interesting.
Now we understand a bit about what MCP might be useful for, let's actually take a look at how it works. To do this, I'm going to walk through the article that I've got posted below. We're going to
I do want to write something here because I just had this thought. One feather or FNTC. FNTC, I would be building few courses, revamping, and hopefully putting spin on. The issue is that FNTC doesn't allow, or doesn't seem like there is a longer term opportunity with them. FT employment afterwards. But the work seems more aligned with what I'm currently doing, and I feel more inspiration there. My gut is telling me is the way. I rely on my gut. Should. But my brain says eternity is only going until June 30th, which means I'm back in the current situation of looking for check. I'll gain skills in this area of content creation. I will basically get to use the tools I want. Maybe it's as simple as that then. But one feather has a longer horizon, which also good thing. Anyways, just wanted to get that one note off there. We're still in MCP stuff. MCP. Is that 4 dashes? That's 3. Let's make this 3. This is 3 as well. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Walk through the general architecture based on.
Yeah, I do like this. I'm gonna keep this, but I'm not gonna go through it right now because I want to do something else. Let's go back to this. So we're gonna look at this documentation real quick. Gonna read it. Let's set it. Pomodoro timer. Focus. Let's go long break for this. So start. Let's start it. Okay, I got 20 minutes to redo this. MSP is an open protocol that standardizes this. Yeah, growing this pre-built stuff. That's where MCP follows a client-server architecture where a host application can connect to multiple servers. Let's pause this real quick. Tanner, go to the gym, bro. Pay the price. It's a bar. Did bro just send me a Snapchat too? What is it? Some scat? Surely. Yeah. Get a grip, man. Holy fuck. Bro's just taking a fucking vitamin concoction. Bro's just throwing shit in his body. Doesn't care. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, crazy timing that I was like, let me hop in the stream, and all of a sudden, literally, as I see Tanner, I just, Tanner snapped me. And I was like, yeah, just me? I know what that is. Yeah. Anyways. Back into the darkness. Slip. we do have 5 in here right now. Oh, shit. I'll be back in a bit. And we continue on. Okay, so at its core, MCP follows a client-server architecture where a host application can connect to multiple servers. Host with MCP client. Then you have the protocol. Then you have the MCP server, and then you have a data source, like a web API, for instance. MCP hosts programs like Claude desktop IDEs or AI tools that want to access data through MCP. So is that Clay? Is that Clay in this instance? The data source. I'm not streaming the MCP. Tweet better. Is that how it looks? Why is it so saturated? I can't. I got a camera hub later. Is that how it looks? Why is it so saturated? I can't. I got a camera hub later. Is that how it looks? Why is it so saturated? I can't. I got a camera hub later. Is that how it looks? To make this server application API. Actually, me as computer information. Diagos. These
Protocol.
Tune it. Bro. Alright, peace. Okay. These left. Oh, okay. Da, 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 da. me a APIs take this. Imagine how attack. Da, 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 da. Okay. Okay. Tune it.
MCP server win still late.
Okay. Oh, why did it just left that in YouTube? Here we go. Okay. Oh, why did it just left that in YouTube? Here we go. Okay, cool. Da, 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 da. Okay. Get rid of that. Cool. Get rid of that. Okay, so so MCP host like Cloud desktop. So trying to understand why MCP. So let's get this to you real quick. Okay. So kind of already gone over why MCPs. Yeah. At its core, MCP follows a client-server architecture. At its core, MCP follows. So in my computer, I have an MCP server hosted the MCP client, and then you have some data sources like an API. I think I drew it here. So that's kind of what it looks like. And I guess basically what MCPs do, my understanding so far, is that it just gives, it removes some of the complexity of having many different data sources plugged into one AI tool. So it's kind of like if I have, maybe I don't even know enough actually to have experimented to really classify it correctly, but my understanding would be like if I have 2 or 3 different agents, each one of them needs to be able to plug into each other, and this just gives like a standardized way of doing that, rather than let's say I have a dongle. Let's say I have this thing here, but I have some tools that are actually USB connected, i.e. this, and I plug them into my PC, or not even PC, let's say my MacBook here. My MacBook has a dongle that is USB, creates an adapter that can connect to USB. That's kind of the way you can think about what an MCP server is, I guess, is like here's a connection that can speak the language of USB, but also HDMI and also this. That's the way to think about it, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So the key things we have here are hosts, clients, servers, data sources, and remote servers. What's this? External systems available over the internet through APIs. Okay. So let's press 8 here. We have MCP hosts, MCP servers, databases, APIs. Did I miss anything there? MCP clients. Clients. Databases, local sources. And remote sources. IE APIs. Is that the right way to think about it? Is that local data sources, remote services? Okay. Choose the right path best fits your needs. Get started with building your own client and can integrate with all MCP servers. Get started building your own server. Okay, interesting. Tutorials building MCPs with LLMs, debugging guide, MCP inspector, explore MCP's core architecture. Yeah, let's do some of the core concepts first, and then I am following McKay Wrigley's. Let me actually sign in, like share his Twitter and stuff to give him flowers. X.com McKay. McKay. Oh, okay. That's fine. McKay. Okay, Wrigley. Share that there. Here's thing. And what's his course? Yeah, takeoff. Share that. How do I is it shift tab? How do you go between screens here? Yeah, that's the one. I'm gonna try and take off. Oh, option. Okay. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. We'll keep the chat open. What's that tweet doing? I haven't gained any viewers since I posted it. Not that I think I have a super receptive group of people. One view. Yeah, we're back in this one. So let's take a look at the core architecture, and then we'll dive into McKay's course again. Understand how MCPs connect clients, servers, and LLMs. An MCP follows a client-server architecture where the hosts are LLM applications like Cloud Desktop or IDEs that initiate connections. Clients then maintain one-to-one connections with servers inside of the host application. Okay, so I guess there's so if I'm thinking in terms of like websites, I host my website on Vercel. So that means they have the code base that is distributed amongst many different servers. I think is their kind of thing. I don't know if I think they actually moved away from the Edge runtime. So I don't really know how their architecture works now, but basically they host my website. People then dial a client, and when they dial a client, the host provides that I actually need an explanation of this. Just so I'm doing it. Can you explain the client host or client server architecture to me, please? Particularly how host clients and servers work to provide a website. I'm familiar, so a brief explanation will do. I'm looking for a refresher as I'm beginning to explore MCP and that client server architecture is the foundation of most web applications. Here's a brief refresher. So a server is a computer program or device that provides functionality or services to other programs, i.e. clients, over a network. In web context, servers store, process, and deliver web pages and other content. Clients are applications or devices that request services. Okay, web browsers. Okay. Hosts are computers connected to a network that can function as client servers or both. The term host refers to any network connected device with an IP address. When you access a website, your browser, which is a client, sends a request to a web server. The server processes and requests the request and retrieves the necessary data. The server sends a response back to your client. And then your browser renders the received content. So for modern web application, this often involves multiple servers working together, i.e. like a database, application servers, with clients handling presentation and user interaction. Since you mentioned MCP, MCP refers to Anthropic's model context protocol. Anthropic's. I'm slightly confused about the architecture of them. I'm not sure how to visualize this in order to think of my own interesting implementations. In the context of MCP, you can think of architecture like this. So the base model, Claude, acts as a central server capable of processing natural language. Tools and external services, these are specialized servers that Claude can call to perform specific functions. You going to church?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Enjoy, man. Send a prompt or request to Claude. Claude processes your request and determines if external tools are needed. If needed, Claude makes API calls to the appropriate external services. The external services return data to Claude. Claude then integrates this information into a response. You receive the final answer through your client application. Common MCP implementations might include web search capabilities, code execution and environments, data analysis tools, document retrieval systems, image generation services. Okay. No. I want just actually restart current. So this, we're going to reset. And we're going to say, building agent just document processing for claims. What would be needed in terms of documents? Claim, invoice, etc. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for clarifying. So the flow works like this: you, via the client, send a prompt. Give me examples of clients. Give me a huge list of clients. I guess it's just applications, I guess. Okay, interesting. So it's like apps, I guess. What's our LLM applications? Give me a huge list of hosts. This might tell me there isn't. Desktop computers, laptop computers, server machines, mainframe computers, blade servers, rack servers, tower servers, workstations, VMs, network hosts, router switches, cloud hosts, web hosts, IoT hosts, mobile hosts, specialized hosts, storage hosts, security hosts. Okay. And servers provide context tools and prompts to clients. So the host has an MCP client, then there's this protocol, I suppose, and then you have a server that has an MCP server. It's weird that they would. Oh. So you can have a host that has multiple MCP clients that connect to different MCP servers. Core components. The protocol layer handles message framing, request response for linking, and high-level communication. So class, protocol request, notification results. So handling incoming requests, request, what else is in there? Request, which is type T, extra, which is request handler extra, which returns a promise, that contains the result class set handler request, set notification handler, send request and await response, notification. Okay. Key classes include protocol, client, server. And then the transport layer handles the actual communication between clients and servers. MCP supports multiple transport mechanisms. STDIO Studio transport uses standard input output. Ideal for local processes. HTTP with SSE transport. Server sent events. Okay. All transports use JSON RPC 2.0 to exchange messages. Message types, there's requests, there's results, there's errors, there's notifications. Connection lifecycle, you have a client and a server. Initialize the request, initialize response, initialize notification, connection's ready to use. Not really sure. Oh, okay, so this is just the same client. Client sends initialize, message is exchanged, then you terminate it. Then there's some error handling. So the core architecture, core components for architecture is be say this core architecture host client server, and then I guess a transport layer. Core components, protocol layers, transport layer, and the message types. Host, applications, clients, maintain the connection, provide. Okay, so clients, i.e., when I go to a website, the browser is my client. What's the difference between a host and a server? What is the difference between a host and a server? Host comes into role and function. So a host is any device connected, can send and receive traffic. The term is broader and describes a physical or VM. Host can function as a client or a server. Okay, so for example, a laptop computer is a host when connected to the internet. If you install web server software on it and configure it to serve web pages to other devices, it becomes a server. The physical device is still a host, but it's not functioning in a server role. So the same physical machine can host multiple server applications. Um, um, So a server is a computer program or device that provides functionality or services to other programs, clients over a network. In web context, servers store, process, and deliver web pages and their content. hosts are computers connected to a network that can function as client servers or both. Okay, so a computer that can serve and client. Computer that in a pithy statement, give me difference between a host and a server. Fill in this text here for this context. I can do that. Host so network addressing can connect to other computers. But this is connects to a network. Server, i.e. software running on the host that can serve what I guess data that can running on a host that can provide services to clients. What does this thing say here? Or components, transport layer, request layer, and what does it say? Protocol layer, transport layer, message type. Protocol layer, transport layer, and message types. The protocol layer handles message framing, request response linking, and high-level communication. Protocol client server. Protocol client server. And the transport layer is transport layer. How what the information depends on where we are transporting from. This is a local external database. STDIO transport. Standard input output. External web services API. Seems right, right? I did for our local user service set events. That's good enough for me. Message types 3 request results errors. Request results errors. Request result error. That is the life cycle error handling implementation example. So in this, we are importing a server from the, I guess, SDK. And then we are importing the transport layer for something, I suppose, local. We are initializing a server, which is, again, from the npm package or SDK of model context protocol, so it knows what it needs to do. With it, it has a capability which you then pass resources into. Resource would be like, hey, look at this file. In this file, I have a bunch of rules set up for how I want to, do my cold emailing. I think it's where you can provide more context to it. And then we're telling it, hey, this is how you handle requests. So the server has a method that's called setRequestHandler, which accepts a variable called list resources request schema. This is an asynchronous function that returns the resources, which in the resource, that's an array of objects. For the objects, to define them, we need a URI and a name for it. And then we want to connect the transport server, the standard input-output transport server. We initiate that, simple as calling it. And then await server has a thing to actually connect, and it knows what to connect with that new instantiation of the standard input-output. Okay. Okay. I think I get that. So expose data and content from your servers to LLMs. Resources are a core primitive in the model context protocol that allows servers to expose data and content that can be read by clients and used as context. Yeah, like I said. Okay. So file context, database records, API responses, live system data, screenshot images, log files, and more. Resources are identified using URIs that follow this format. Protocol, which I guess is like HTTPS or standard input output, right? For example, file, Postgres screen. Okay, the protocol and path structure defined in the MCP server implementation. Servers can define their own custom URI schemes. Resource types. So there are two different types. There are text resources, and then there are binary resources, which are images, PDFs, audio files, video files. Resource discovery. Clients can discover available resources through two main methods: direct resources. Servers expose a list of concrete resources via the resources list endpoint. Each resource includes a URI, a name, a description, and a MIME type. Resource templates. For dynamic resources, servers can expose URI templates that clients can use to construct valid. Okay, so template RFC 657, 6507, or 6570, 6570. Reading resource. To read a resource, clients make a resource read request with the resource URI. Updates, list change, content changes. Example, implementation. Look at the implementation. So yeah, we initialize this, and then we set request. One of the resources we're sharing is a file which has the application logs. Here's the address for the file. And then server set request handler, server set request handler. This one is read the resource schema. This one is list resources. It's available resources. So doesn't accept anything. Just wants you to return that. It accepts the list resource schema. Return it in this format. Is that just telling it how to return it? What it should look like? Or... And then read. Okay. Const URI is the request params URI. If the URI is equal to this, const log contents equals await read log file. Where does it get read log file from? I guess that's a function that comes in this. I feel like you would have to import it though, but maybe I'm tripping. Return content URI, mine type, text log content. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Prompts. Create reusable prompt templates and workflows. Prompts enable servers to define reusable prompt templates and workflows that clients can easily. Is this? It is done. Interesting. Reset. We're gonna say short break. Is it able to pull it up? We should. Let's take a break though. What's going on here, guys? Or Brad, I'm tuned in to see it. Yo, what's Brad just went crazy? That's 29, but that's fine. We can round up. Oh, into my veins. All right, Brad, don't play anymore. I'll play. Oh, shit. Bro, I'm telling you, bro. I know, and then we can't. Yay. Woo. Awesome. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 All right. Anyways, I'm gonna let you do 29 and 14. Don't sell yourself short, man. Well, that one wasn't the one. That wasn't the one. No, no, there was a worse one. The last game we played, oh, that's a different one. Right one final. Okay. What time are we doing this, guys? What time are we doing this? What do you think, Ty? What do you think? What do you think, Toast? That sounds like a yes. Oh, Shirley. Okay. Just don't complain about my utils. All right. Exactly. Tyson's the only real one. Tyson's the only real one here. Fuck. All right. I'll see you guys in a bit. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Tanner's gonna shower and stuff. I gotta end this stuff and set up my PC real quick. It's pretty quick, like 5-10. Alright. Yeah. Cool. Alright. Come on. Thanks for that. Alright, stream. I'm gonna go play some Valorant for a little bit. Have some fun with my bros. I'm hoping I get back because I got some energy today, so I'm hoping I get back to this shortly. But pretty well, I wouldn't say we made any progress. Really, just kind of gathering information. But yeah, interesting stuff. I'm not exactly sure if I'm at this level of like wanting to apply it. I'm still very much in the space of like, oh, let me make some like pretty like to-do list app type agents. This seems a little bit more advanced. Like I would say this is like a native application versus a web development thing. So we'll see. We'll see if we get there today particularly. But yeah, definitely exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. It's exciting because other people are telling me it's exciting though. Because I don't know if I really have the vision of what this could be right now. At least in the perspective of like, I don't know how I would implement this thing. I don't have a good enough understanding of what are the confines of this to then be able to apply it myself. So it's tough to say it's super exciting for me at this current moment because most of my application ideas are relatively to-do listy or web application-y. So we'll see. But anyways, I could definitely see this maybe running cron jobs and automating what it does with the results of those. That could be kind of cool to like monitor competitors and stuff. So